What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some interesting information to talk about here, but before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell to get my videos first. And let's go ahead and get into it, because this one is a bit of a doozy with some, I would say, back-end implications. Now, Atlas recently tweeted out this Shin Megami Tensei 5 I would say contest on what people could win. There's multiple different announcements in terms of digital codes and games that you can win. It's pretty cool. And there was one little side note here that I'm pretty sure that Atlas social PR person was like, oh no, I made a mistake, especially when the internet was set ablaze. This took the Twitterverse by storm when this was on here, because on the actual layouts for different types of awards that you could win for this contest that Atlas is doing via Twitter, it says 1 digital code for Persona 5 Royal on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, or PC. I mean, just like it says it right there, 1 digital code for Persona 5 Royal, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PC. Well, just to let you guys know, Persona 5 Royal is not on the Nintendo Switch, and it's not on the PC. If you didn't know, I'm pretty sure you haven't heard people ask for that. Break Free Persona, whatever the case is, people been begging and been asking for these games on other platforms for a very long time now. But yeah, it's not on other platforms. So to see it here, that was pretty crazy. But Atlas did come out and say, guys, hey, it is a typo. It says, if you saw that typo on the prizes, no, you didn't. So it's just like, so it's so interesting. Atlas is kind of, joking around. The PR person's kind of joking around with what was going on here. And yeah, it's one of those things to where it's, guys, it was like a typo. It was a Persona 5 Strikers, and she quote tweeted herself and said it was Persona 5 Strikers. And I think that's what everyone was saying when they were trying to say, no, it wasn't Persona 5 Royal, it was Persona 5 Strikers. They were trying to say, because that game is available on the PlayStation 4, it's available on the Nintendo Switch and the PC. That's the game. It wasn't like there was some type of secret Persona 5 Royal that was going to be given away and they substituted it in there for it or whatever, or they kind of like let it out of the bag. There wasn't anything like that, guys. It was just a simple mistake. They meant to say Persona 5 Strikers, not Persona 5 Royal. I mean, obviously, you're working at the company. You're talking about Persona 5 Royal all the time, Persona 5 Strikers, whatever. It was probably just an honest mistake when the person put out the draft for it. It wasn't anything more than that. So this was not a shadow confirmation or anything else when it comes to Persona 5 potentially coming to Switch and the PC. However, that begs the question, because this is something that you guys ask me about all the time. This is something that's on official campaigns. This is something that's been out there before. People talk about this constantly. When is Persona 5 coming to platforms outside of PlayStation? Right now, you can only play Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal on the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5, and that's it. And we've seen with games like, let's say, Persona 4 Golden, that was only on the PlayStation Vita for so many years. The original base version on the PlayStation 2. You can play that backwards compatible, I guess, with the PlayStation 3, or if you have like a Vita, you can play it on there. There's other stuff, but yeah, there's other ways to play the game. But it was very interesting to see how they've handled Persona over these years, and if it's going to come to other platforms. I've talked about it. There's been numerous rumors and not rumors and stuff that's came out and leaks, but then not leaks. It's been all leading to dead ends when it comes to Persona 5 coming to platforms outside of PlayStation, and preferably for many people would be the PC and the Nintendo Switch platform. And of course, if it was on Xbox, that would be great too. There was rumors about Persona 5 Royal going to Xbox Game Pass, like at E3 or like a Microsoft event. That didn't happen either. So it's interesting just to see what's going to happen. But I am here to tell you guys, here is what my thought process is with this. I think that Atlas is a very meticulous company. I think that Atlas is a company that likes to focus in and hone in on their big games. When they have something going, they want to really focus in on there. Now, Sega as well, which Sega owns Atlas, for those who don't know, because some people still don't know that Atlas is actually owned by Sega. Sega, I think, is going to change the culture. They are going to change things that is going on there, hopefully, because they've talked about this to their investors. And I think that Sega probably made one of the worst calls in the current generation that we're in. One of the worst calls are last generation. If you want to go 8th generation, 9th generation, I think they're changing things up now at this point, right? Persona 5 Strikers, obviously, Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne. These are all multi-platform releases where you just see it not just on one platform, but multi-platform, whereas before in the past, those would be singular platform games. So I think that Atlus is kind of changing a little bit, but all of their older projects that weren't like greenlit years ago were exclusive. So stuff like Persona 5 and stuff like Shin Megami Tensei 5. So I feel that they're going to get those out of the way. And I think that going forward, especially with newer end RPGs, you are going to see stuff more on the end of multi-platform from Atlus, because I think that they are incredibly outdated when it comes to how they handle stuff, especially with the evolving market of the Nintendo Switch and the Japanese gaming scene. I mean, I think that you'd have to be absolutely insane if you're Sega or Atlus to sit there and say, oh yeah, well, the future's only on one platform with PlayStation, especially with these sales in Japan. You'd have to be crazy to think that, unless PlayStation or Sony is going to give you an insane bag for that type of exclusivity. I don't think Atlus wants to go down that road. So I do feel that they're going to make changes going forward in the future. But here's what I'll say. I think that they're going to take care of SMT5. That is the next big game. They want to make a lot of money off of this game. They obviously want to sell millions of copies of this game. They have a very good opportunity. At least I think this would probably be the best selling Shin Megami Tensei game of all time. I think that's going to be a pretty much lock in, because I think the next best selling one is like SMT3 with the HD release and the original, or maybe even SMT4. Those are probably like the two best selling ones, and that's not even at 1 million units. So I think that they're definitely going to sell over 1 million. I think they have a prime spot this holiday. Nintendo's given them plenty of publicity. They've been at multiple Nintendo Directs. I mean, people that want to know about SMT5 will know about it. There's been plenty of trailers, plus there's some cool stuff coming up, which you guys can just stay tuned to the channel. I do feel that this is definitely something that is a positive. This is going to be a positive for Shin Megami Tensei 5 in terms of how it does sales wise, but they want to just get this out marketed and ready to go. And I think that after that, that's when they can focus on potentially getting Persona 4, Persona 5 on other platforms, because they like to kind of take things one by one with these huge franchises of theirs. They don't want to sit there and say, oh, well, here's Shin Megami Tensei 5, then also, oh, well, here's Persona 5 also. We're going to be releasing that in a little bit, and split people's money. They want to get people hyped, ready to go on this one product, singular focused on that, and then after they've sold that and felt they've maximized what they can do, then they move on to the next thing. I personally feel that's what they're doing with this, and I feel that if Persona 5 Royal comes to platforms outside of PlayStation, it's going to be in 2022 or 2023. It's going to be well after the scope of Shin Megami Tensei 5, and I think that that would probably be the smart move for Atlus and for Sega to do in this case, just because there's a lot of money left off the table, especially if there's no deal, which people think that there's some type of PlayStation exclusivity deal, which we've talked about before, but there's really nothing in terms of solid information that's out there. There's that one jack of all trades or jack of all whatever articles or whatever the case is, but outside of that, I've done a lot of digging. I have talked to lots of sources out there. I've done my best to find if there is some type of exclusivity deal and how long it lasts or whatever, and I haven't been able to find anything. And if there is, I don't think it's one of those forever deals, right? So, for example, Persona 4 Golden, I mean, that was an exclusive only on PS Vita. Many people felt that there was a certain deal for that. Well, that's on PC now as well. So I do feel that there is an end to it if there is one, and I feel that if there isn't one, I think that they're waiting for after SMT5 to be released before they actually talk about what else they're going to do with other major games. Because when you talk about Persona, even if it's a port, that's still a major game for them. But you have to remember, Sega and Atlus, or probably more like on the end of Sega, they are still adjusting to what this new thing is. I mean, I know that we think of it as like, okay, what's the big deal? It's just the game coming to another platform. But you have to remember, when Persona 4 launched on Steam, Persona 4 Golden launched on Steam, Sega actually said that they were surprised the game did as well as it did. It sold 500,000 copies like very quickly, and Sega was surprised that one of the best reviewed games of all time, one of the best reviewed JRPGs of all time, sold 500,000 copies. It's not like this game sold like 10 million copies in like a day. It wasn't like it was like Animal Crossing where it was all like 30 million copies. It just sold 500,000 copies, and then it went on to sell over 1 million fairly quickly, and they were surprised with the success of it. And it's like, why you release a really good game, a really highly rated game that's been on platform prison when it comes to a third-party game on the PlayStation Vita, one of the worst selling systems of all time, and you finally release it on a platform in terms of modern platform that people are playing on a marketplace like Steam, and it sells 500,000 copies, and you're surprised. That just shows that you're a bit out of touch in terms of what your fans were looking for. Your fans have been looking for ways to play these games on modern systems and have been telling you that, and then somehow you're surprised when the game does well. So that kind of tells you where their headspace is at when it comes to Sega at the time. Now, they have since changed in terms of, at least from the outward appearance, because of what they said to their investors, and say that they're going to do more multi-platform. So it does seem that way, but we still have to wait and see if they kind of follow through with everything. But it does kind of look like that's the case. I know like the Yakuza games, those are now multi-platform with Xbox and PlayStation at least. It used to just be PlayStation when it comes to the Yakuza, and now they're actually branching off and getting Xbox involved earlier. Also PC as well, and maybe they'll expand to Nintendo Switch or Nintendo platform at some point in the future. So I do think that Sega should and will follow through with a lot of different stuff. Maybe not everything, but I do feel that they will, and we can probably see Persona probably in 2022 or 2023 on PC and Nintendo Switch. So we'll see what happens going forward in the future. So what are your thoughts on this whole situation with Persona and the Nintendo Switch and PC potentially? What happened with Atlas on Twitter? I thought it was pretty hilarious, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button if you did like this video. Subscribe if you're someone new. Click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.